It's all about people that inspire you, people that talk to you, people that want to make you do great.
Welcome to Brilliance Out Loud. Today's conversation is very special to me because I'm not just sitting here as a host. I'm sitting here as a wife with my dear darling husband, Eric Keith Thomas. We're talking about brilliance, what it looks like, how it's shaped over time, and what it means to raise and support Black boys as a Black man, specifically our sons. Eric, thank you for being here and for being willing to share your voice.
Thank you. I appreciate for being here.
All right, husband. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself and the roles you play as a husband, father, provider, mentor, pastor, and the list just goes on and on.
First of all, I want to thank God for allowing me to be here with my lovely wife. When I think about being a father, I think about being a provider, being a mentor, and being a one that's look over the family. I love that because I was taught how to be a father by my dad. My dad was an excellent provider. My dad only had a 6th grade education. And that's really was shocking to me when I heard that. So first he showed me how to be a provider. Then my mother showed me how to love. Now, she was a nurturer. So that's what taught me about being brilliant. Brilliant is something that I look at and see that the hand of God is on my life. When I hear something called brilliance, first thing comes to my mind is a person striving for perfection. Brilliance, trying to be the best you can be. And when you look at brilliance, it really makes me wonder, how can I be great? So when I think about brilliance, it just makes me want to be the best I can be.
What else shaped you as a boy when you think of the word brilliance?
My mother and father was a great part of my life and also the church. I had something that I can reach to with the church. Oak Grove Missionary Baptist Church. That's the name of the church I grew up in. I was baptized there. I was licensed there. I was ordained there. And that's where I did my first initial sermon. When I was growing up and even when I was in school, I had this one teacher that really taught me about brilliance. And I really didn't even know she was teaching me about brilliance. Her name was Miss King. Miss King was the one that always inspired me. She always told me to be the best. She always told me I can do right. She always told me, stop doing this or stop doing that. Eric, how would your mom like you when what you're doing? I could just remember a story when I was in Miss King class. I was just acting out. And she sat me outside the room. She finally came out and brought me back in the room. And after all the kids left, she sat me down and told me, you got to do better. You must do better. And I love her for that. To this day forward, I always remember Miss King because she took out the time and challenged me to be brilliant. And I didn't even know that then. So it's all about people that inspire you, people that talk to you, people that, want to make you do great. I could say Miss King was a vital part of that village that helped raise me.
Yeah. I like that because people shape you. Of course, we're brought up in a home, a loving home, but there are outside people who shape who you are. I have my teachers who shaped who I am. Miss Brooks, she shaped me a lot. Miss Dr. Molly Brown. So those are the people who shaped my future. Of course, my mom, she was my number one fan. My grandmother really poured into me being an educator and doing my best. But there were people who are outside like you who shaped my journey of learning and becoming who I am today. But sometimes, even though we're shaped and people affirm us and give us those words of affirmation, sometimes you still feel like, am I enough? Am I doing it? Or we compare ourselves to others? And I know as a man and even as a boy, this may have been how you may have seen yourself. Was that part of your growing up? Do you feel like sometimes you were not seen or not heard?
Yes, I always felt like I wasn't heard. I wasn't enough. I wasn't seen. Now, I knew I was loved. I didn't have a shadow of a doubt about that because my mom poured that into me. I knew my mother loved me. I knew my dad loved me. But I still felt like I wasn't seen because of sometime of my actions, just being very impulsive. To this day, I still try my best. And you can testify to that, right, babe?
Yeah.
I try my best not to be impulsive. I try to think it through. And I pause a lot now. I had to get to the point of realize who I was. And once me really coming back to Christ and knowing who Christ is in my life and doing what God has called me to do, that's when I knew I was seen. Because ultimately, God sees everything. God sees you. He knows the plans for you. Jeremiah 29:11.
Yes.
He knows the plan for you to prosper.
Yes.
So now that I'm older, I know he knows the plans for me. I know that the hand of God is on my life. So now I know I'm seen. I don't have to have recognition from no one else. It's not that I'm better than anyone, but I don't need that now. God sees me. So when he sees me, everything else is going to work out.
And you made a point earlier about behavior. A lot of times our Black boys are misunderstood. They're said to be challenging, or I hate the term, they're so bad, or they're being aggressive, or they're being combative. And that has always been why I've been a champion for Black boys, because they're really misunderstood. Our sons have been misunderstood. We have 3 wonderful sons, and they went through a lot of challenges. But as parents, we had to stand in the gap for them, advocate for them. You're a father, so there are some things that you could show them, of course, that I couldn't. But some things as an educator that I knew about Black boys that I could help support our sons. And so the problem is that boys are oftentimes misunderstood and are dumbed down because of their behavior, when sometimes it's just a boy may need attention. He may need that person like a Miss King to affirm him and say, you're going to be great. You're going to be amazing. You can do this. They need that. And I think that's what's been lacking with our boys over the years. And that's why we have to continue to do this work, not just uplift our boys, but even with our mentoring program, to raise up sons and all boys to know that they're brave, they're bold, and they're brilliant. Those are simple words, but I chose those words, brave, bold, and brilliant, because boys are going to be challenged to things that they fear. They have to be bold and stand up and have that confidence and be brilliant, be creative, and think outside the box. So thank you for sharing that part of your lifelong journey. As parents, we learn over and over again what things we need to do differently. Each child is different. They all have a different makeup, a different build, different experiences in their life. And so we can't treat them all the same. And what people in general have to learn, that all boys are not the same. Yeah, they're all people, they're human, but we have to find out exactly what their needs are. And I think that's what we had to learn with our 3 boys. What are their needs? What are their wants? What are their desires? What are their hopes? How to communicate with them. And that's what has really helped us as parents. But I'm going to let you tap into that as a father in just a minute. Let me ask you this. In life, you said you were told, boys don't cry. Boys, you got to man up. What were your coping mechanisms? How did you learn to deal with when issues were challenging to you?
Even with the challenge that I had, I would guard myself, and I'll just put myself in a space where I just sometimes, when I was growing up and had challenges, it's almost like I think I could sleep my challenges away. I'll just distance myself, or I'll just be by myself. And that's not good either. Because I never can remember my mom used to tell me, why are you sleeping so much? Because I was having challenges and I think I could just sleep it away. But once I wake up, it's still there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you learn how to deal with it, your emotion, I think there's nothing wrong with embracing your emotion now.
Yeah.
It's good to embrace your emotions.
So what are you doing differently now?
Now that I'm pivoting to the word now,
Mm-hmm.
my coping will be going to the word and asking God, what can I do? And I learn how to talk about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that took a while for me to open up and talk about things that I think now is not good for me to share with others. I'm very guarded at what I think of what I do. A lot of people think I'm very fun, hidey, but I'm very guarded. So now I learn how to share.
Yeah.
And that helps me out when I share what's going on with me or what I'm thinking or what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I share a little bit now.
Yes. And one thing you mentioned a lot, and it's funny, Eric mentioned it last week on the episode, is that he gets quiet. Sometimes he just sits and get quiet. And I think we all do. I do it as well. But one thing that, of course, that I'm teaching the boys and teaching parents to do with their children is when boys are at the brink of getting agitated or want to get in a bad mood, to take what we call a brilliant breath.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just, and that's for adults as well. We title a brilliant breath. Of course, everything is about brilliancy, but it's just taking a breath for a moment. I do it often just around the house. I just pause for a minute, take a deep breath in, count to 3, and then let it out. That's something that has helped me a lot. I learned that some years ago when I took a training, and then in some other, even one of my sorority sisters, she has shown us that a lot too in her presentations. And I continue to do it just for myself throughout the day. And I say, let me take a breath. Not a brilliant breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, it's just that term I use for boys. I think that's a powerful tool that anyone can use to take a breath. It's just taking a pause. Now, you tapped on being a father. We're going to go back to that now. Being a father, and a smile comes across your face because I know you love your sons, our sunshines. But being a father, what does that mean to you?
When I think about being a father, it's being an example. Mm-hmm. I should be the closest thing to Christ that they see. How to, number one, to treat themselves. Mm-hmm. And how I treat you. Being an example, being that leader, being that provider, being that mentor, being that one that show people the way. Mm-hmm. Just being an example, mm-hmm. Being a great example, mm-hmm. Being a true example, being an example for their village.
So being an example, what lessons do you teach them about strength and respect and responsibility? Can you dive a little bit more into that about the strength of a man and the respect of a man and respect to others and then responsibility?
I think when I say a strength of a man, when I hear that, my favorite scripture, men ought to always pray and never faint. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't never give up. Yes, I can. It's just that simple. If you stay connected to God, number one, everything else gonna fall in place. Mm-hmm. You got to stay connected with communion with God as a man, because you need God to be able to navigate through this life. Because life's gonna throw you curveball, life's gonna throw you up, life's gonna throw you down. But if you have strength and you stay prayed up and be that example that God wants you to be, not what you want, but what He wants, everything's going to work out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I love that. Yeah. You're the example. You're the role model. Like you said, your love for God and how you worship God first and foremost. Then, of course, your family, how to be a family man, because that's very important. Even your work ethics. Eric, again, spoke on that last week, how he's proud of how you work. And he knows that you're a hard worker and that he has to be a hard worker as well. Teach to not give up. Life is about challenges and how you respond to those challenges, because they will come. That's what we have to teach our sons, our boys, to handle life, but to handle in a way where they stay in what we call the zone of resilience, where they're able to bounce back to where they are in their okay zone, which means that they're able to move on to the next thing. I'm able to handle these emotions. I can get up. I can go to work. I can go to school. I can handle what's next. So thank you for sharing that. I want you to finish these sentences for me. When you think about brilliance in boys, what does that look like to you?
Strength.
Mm.
Strength. Because in order to be brilliant, you got to have strength.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some weight may come, but you got to be able to have strength to overcome it. You got to have strength, and you got to have faith in God to move through it.
Okay, awesome. So as a dad, there may be a young man listening, or maybe his dad is listening. What can you tell them right now that a boy deserves to hear from his father? Or maybe what do you think every father should tell his son daily?
I love you. And that goes back to my father. It's surprising to me that we on this podcast and we talking about this, because now it makes me think about my father.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember on 2 fingers how many times my dad told me he loved me.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew he loved me. But that was the way he was taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I was going to change that.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I needed to change that.
That's it. Love. Love is that magic word. I love you. Just telling someone I love you, I'm proud of you, you're the best. Those words of affirmation. But the main one is that I love you. And like you said, I'm always here for you. That's good advice. So dads, sons, tell each other I love you. It's not about being too manly to say that. Just say it. I love you. My husband, it's been a great conversation that we've had today.
Yes.
You've been very honest. You've been very open. And I appreciate your leadership for our family, the church, and in the community. And I really do appreciate the things that you're doing, the love that you show, how you love on little old me.
Yes.
Because conversations like this matter. Black boys need to hear that it's okay to be loved, it's okay to be vulnerable, and to express themselves. So again, thank you. And to any fathers and even the moms who are listening, but mainly to the father and father figures, your presence matters more than perfection. Remember, your sons need you to be in their lives. So be present. Say, I love you. And know that these simple acts of kindness, of being a man, is what makes our boys brilliant. Thank you for listening to the Brilliance Out Loud podcast. And remember, we're going to keep doing those things that we need to do to support our boys so they can continue to be brave, bold, and brilliant.